Yeah, what up? Alright, so we back at it again with another video by DJ Mobile Auto Services. So we got a Land Rover here. I believe this is a Freelander 2 or something like that. Right, customer complaint is that he's cranking, but he's not starting. Right, I believe he sprayed carb spray into the throttle, and the vehicle tends to start. But when he try to start on his own, it's not starting. It's been to various shops, and he just want me to diagnose the vehicle for him. So I'm just gonna check it out real quick. But you see that the ECU was unplugged. This vehicle came on a tow truck. I think he has some parts like they changed crank sensor, cam sensor, various things, and he still can't get through with the vehicle. So yes, for this vehicle, because it was recommended to me to check it out for him. So let's do that, right? Alright, so I'm seeing the ECU was unplugged. Looked like somebody was here probing before, and they end up front probing the harness. So I'm not sure if it will make proper connection, right? So let me just pop this ECU back in and put the battery on and see if I can, get some juice to start this vehicle. So I was able to get the ECU in. I'm gonna plug this car on. I just hope it have battery power. Alright, I'm gonna tumble and see what's the reaction on the vehicle. Let's see what happens. Key on. Alright, so vehicle is just tumbling. Alright, so we gotta start to diagnose the vehicle and see why it's just tumbling. Right, I'm gonna check for spark first, right, because it's easy to get to. But then after, I'm gonna check for fuel, because the customer said once you spray carb spray in the throttle body, the vehicle does want to start. So let's try that. Alright, so I know I'm getting spark, right? So I'm gonna check for fuel next. Before I do that, the customer supply manual for this vehicle. So what I'm seeing here, the injector and the fuel pump is sharing the same fuse. So I'm gonna just check and make sure I get power to these the fuse first, and then it also saying that you're supposed to get like 3.3 bars of pressure, right? So the pump supposed to supply 3.3 bars of pressure. So I'm gonna hook up my external injector machine and see if I can supply my own fuel to this car to see if it stay running. Right, so let me just get this tool and hook it up first. Since I'm not getting no fuel coming out of the fuel pump, right, I got my external fuel pump hooked up to the injector rail, and I got it primed to 3.5 bars. I'm gonna pull the fuse for the fuel pump, and I'm gonna apply external fuel and see if it remains starting or if it starts on its own. That will at least let me narrow down if it's fuel pump issue or if it's, I don't know, wiring or something like that. Right, so I just put this bottle here to catch whatever fuel come out of the fuel pump. This vehicle also has something called an inertia switch that cuts the fuel. So I just gotta make sure that it's not activated, as I'm not gonna get no fuel coming out from the pump, right? So let's make sure that's good before I crank. It runs. So it still doesn't run, and although it doesn't run, I'm not getting any fuel coming out from the pump. So okay, let's try again. Key on. With the key on, it's supposed to get fuel coming through the pump. Okay, it's not that way. It could be. Let's see if the crank sensor. Let's see if I get me. Sorry. Right, let's see if the tach is moving or jumping to show that the crank sensor. Let's see if it fluctuates. Alright, cool. So let's try some other things, some other tests before I'm not getting any
I'm not getting any fuel coming up, but it shouldn't matter because, as I said, I got an external source going to this vehicle. So why is it not starting all the fuel? Customer said when you spray carb spray, the vehicles start, but it cuts off. So let's try the carb spray. Alright, so I just sprayed some brake clean in the intake, and I want to see if this vehicle gonna start and at least idle. So
yeah, it's getting really late, so I gotta wrap it up, right? Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just verify the wiring, the colors of the wiring on this vehicle, and then I'll just get my hands on a wiring diagram so I can able to verify what I'm getting off this car and what I need to get. I know we have an issue with the fuel pump, right? So probably just, I don't know, I just will do it with the external first, and then after the customer probably will sort out the fuel pump after. So alright, let me wrap my stuff up and I'll see you tomorrow.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Yeah, this is day 2 on this Land Rover crank no start vehicle. I got my external fuel hooked up to the pressure rail, so I'm gonna just crank this vehicle over and see if I could get it started. I was able to get my hands on a wiring diagram for the 6-cylinder engine, but it's supposed to apply to this 4-cylinder also. If you notice in the wiring diagram, you've seen a brown wire with a pink stripe. That's a 12-volt feed coming from the fuse. And you also seen a yellow with a red stripe, yellow with blue stripe, and so on and so on. That go into each injector. That is what the ECU is using to ground the or power up each injector, right? So what I did was I probed the injector to see what I'm getting. I'm getting 12 volts on all the wires, right? So this is a pull down circuit where the ECU will ground individual injectors based on the firing order, right? So what I'm gonna do next is hook up my scope to see if the injectors are being pulled to ground by the ECU. Right, so I'm just gonna pick any yellow and green or yellow and blue wire, whatever, it doesn't matter. I just want to see what the ECU is doing to the injector. Is it pulling the ground? Is it staying high? What is going on? It's getting command. Look like somebody was in this injector harness already. So let me just hook up my equipment. Matter of fact, I'm gonna see if I could get some other capture of other things like the crank and the cam sensor, the coil signal, and in cylinder to see if timing is off or something like that, right? So the more information I get, I can analyze it and get a bigger picture of what is going on with this vehicle. All right, this vehicle don't sound like it have any issue with compression or anything like that. It cranks real good. It just is not starting, not staying start unless you spray directly into the combustion chamber, right? So this has a 3-wire cam sensor and a 2-wire crank sensor, right? One is a Hall effect and one will be give me a sine wave basically, right? Which will be the crank, right? So I don't suspect timing is off in this, but you never know. As I said, the more information I could gather, I'll be able to analyze it and make a little, make sure I'm on top of my game, right? So I'm going down in cylinder to make sure also that everything is good, and I got my coil grounded so I won't get no wild sparks, right? So let's see if we could just crank this over and take it from there.
All right, so we're gonna, well, this battery is weak, so I gotta hook up the booster. The fuel line is disabled. I gotta lock this off, right? So we're gonna do our cranking test, right? So we're gonna check to see what the scope is saying. Let's let it run. I'm gonna crank the vehicle over.
So all the waveform captures was looking good except for the injector, right? You actually wasn't even hearing the injector pulsing. So what I'm gonna do is just pulse the injector while I got one of my boys cranking to see if that injector solenoid is is moving at all, right? And as you can tell, we hearing like the vehicle want to run with this one injector. So I believe what's going on here is the ECU is not sending out the proper signal to these injectors to fire. So it's like basically it's staying shut, right? Yes, it runs because he sprayed carb spraying it, but you know that's not ideal. What I'm doing here is unorthodox, right? But when you ground the injector, you hearing the injector pulsing, right? The solenoid pulsing. So that means the ECU is not sending out the signal to ground these injectors. That's why this vehicle is not running, right? As I said, this car has been down a whole year now.
Alright, so what I did, as I said, I went into 3 of the injectors, signal straight off the brain. Right, right now you're getting 12 volts on each signal wire. Right, so this is a pull down straight from the ECU. That purple and the pink and the with the brown stripe is the solid 12 from the fuse. So we, as I said, it's 3 injectors we have hooked up here. I'm gonna pulse it when crank and see how long we could get it to run for. Right, start.
What we did was we sprayed some carb spray into the throttle, trying to get the car started while we pulse the ground as fast as we can, just to get the sound like, you know, if the vehicle want to get started, and then we'll know what to do, right? But I'm gonna sum this up as a faulty ECU. This, according to the manual, they don't have no drivers in this ECU. It's basically the ECU will just pull it to ground, pull the injector signal to ground, and it's staying high all the time, right? I'm gonna leave that up to the customer to figure out what his next move is. I'm gonna make the call on the ECU and take it from there, right? So it's about a month now, and the update on this vehicle is that it's currently running. The customer took his ECU to be repaired, and he found out that it couldn't be repaired, so what he elected to get one sent in from the UK. He had some programming to do, and I believe he had to get an extra key made or something like that, right? And he told me all is well right now. He changed the fuel pump on his own, and he also right now currently doing some suspension work, right? So yeah, what I did with the battery, with the what you call it, grounding off the injector, wasn't the ideal thing to do, but as I said, man, I just need to diagnose this vehicle real quick. So thanks for watching. I hope you like what you saw. Comment, subscribe, share, you know, take it easy. Until next time.